episode 2 of series 1 of Length Does Matter podcast. We're joined, Chris and I are joined tonight by fast bowler, former fast bowler, England fast bowler, Simon Jones. Simon, how are you?
I'm very well, boys. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Mate, I'd be offended by the former fast bowler. You're still turning your arm over for the Masters and stuff, aren't you?
I have done. I've not done it for a couple of years though, because previously I was working in a school, so it was like a Monday to Friday job. The Masters games always land on a Friday, so it was one of those things I couldn't do it. I've since left, and I'm now working in insurance. So hopefully next year, 2021, I might be able to join in again.
Slide in for a couple of games.
Yeah, body hurts now though.
Rushy, I'll tell you what, right? So I had a phone call with Si this morning. We've got more in common than what you think, right? So not only can me and Simon, or we could, bowl 90-mile-an-hour reverse swing, we're both currently working in the insurance trade.
Oh, well, there you go, mate.
So we've got more in common than what, what everybody thinks. Is that right, Si?
Yep. Very similar.
And an aggressive lower order batsman, Johnny.
Very aggressive, Christopher, as you well.
Are you aggressive on the pitch though, Johnny?
No, not so much now, Paul. When you're steaming in off 3 or 4 paces, ball about 40 miles an hour, it's quite hard to get aggressive.
I must admit, when everyone says, "Oh, like, what's your persona like as a bowler?" It's much easier to be angry and aggressive when you're like high 80s, like late 70s, like touching 80s. Doesn't quite have the same effect.
When I used to bowl late 50s, early 60s, I was pretty fucking angry. But now I'm like late 40s, early 50s.
That must have been down the bank at Riot, was it?
Never bowled down the bank at Riot, Paul. Always bowled up it.
It's probably why you look like
you want behind your back.
Right, Johnny, what we got lined up? Are you going to hit him with a topic first up?
Hit him with a topic. Hey, I'll tell you what, right? We told you this, right? We're not journalists, right? I've done a bit of research today, and I did not know.
He likes his research, Johnny.
It was last minute research. I didn't know. No, all jokes aside, I didn't know, right, that you come from a cricketing family and a cricketing background.
Yeah.
And your father, Jones Senior, was a former England cricketer.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he fast left arm bowler named Jeff Jones. He played in the 60s. Finished in 68. He was only 25. He had an elbow injury, so his career was cut short. But yeah, he played 15 tests. Bowled quick as well. He was a little bit nastier than me though. But yeah, he was great to have him around when I was growing up, because I think it's easier as a parent, like Rushy, you know, when you've been there and you've experienced stuff, it's easier to kind of guide your children. You don't pressurize them as much. And he never pressurized me. It was great to have him around. Like when you have a bad day, you have a bad day when you're bowling because you're there all day, and maybe the next day after. And it was just great to have a chat with him and have him there.
Did you get to see much of him play towards the sort of, I guess it would have been the back end of his career?
No, I didn't know. I saw him playing some like local club stuff when I was a kid. But yeah, he'd retired when he was 26, and he didn't come along until he was about 36, 37. But I watched him on TV. I've seen some clips of him bowling and that. And yeah, he was handy, really handy.
Angry. How comes he retired so early? Injury or?
Yeah, honest to God, he had tennis elbow. And, you know, something as simple as that, take 2 weeks now. They kept on putting cortisone injections into him. And that's what knackered him, man. He had to retire because he couldn't straighten his arm in the end. And he was 25, 26. So it was a horrible way for him to finish. He was playing against the West Indies, and it went in the field. So yeah, horrible.
Shame, man.
It is, yeah. But do you know what? you know, he's proud of what he's. I like in that short career, he took over 500 first class wickets. I think 600 first class by the time he was 25. Yeah. Steady career. Yeah.
Actually, you'd already had about 10 by that point.
I only started playing when I was 23. Christ, nah, it's a shame. That's a career cut short. That could have been phenomenal.
Yeah. You know, I guess we'll get out of that and kind of injuries and stuff like that, Simon. But do you reckon you kind of got like the bug from your dad? Was it kind of did you kind of like grow up around it? Because obviously you've just said there like you kind of went born when dad was like playing and stuff like that. But we were always like kind of encouraged and stuff to play from your dad. Got into it that way.
Yeah, I got into it in school and obviously at home. I started like everyone else in the garden and that. But my first love was football. Loved that. Loved it way more than cricket. Got up until the age of about 15 and then just found I was better at cricket than football. So I went that route. It was just one of those things. My old man sat me down and he said, right, you got to choose one. And I went, right, I'll go to cricket. And then turned pro then when I was 15 and a half, 16, when I was in school. And then because Matty Maynard came to see me, and then I signed the forms, and I was job done.
God, good problems to have if you're choosing between football and cricket. I think I reckon 90% of kids, their first love is football purely because it's everywhere you look, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, did you have any friends sort of play cricket with you? Did anyone kind of join you in the sort of professional ranks from school or age group stuff?
I had a best mate. His name was Wayne Law, and I can guarantee you he's the second best or the second most talented batsman I've ever seen in my life. He turned pro at the same time as me with Glamorgan. I remember we played Lancashire at Colwyn Bay. They had Glenn Chappell, Wazim Akram, Peter Martin, Yates, and a couple of others. He got 100 before lunch.
Christ.
Some baller like that as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was just one of those unfortunate things. You know, a couple of things happened in his private life, and it didn't quite go to plan. And he got released then when he was 21. So yeah, it was tough to see him. Obviously, you know what he could have been, we don't know. But yeah, he was unbelievable. Yeah.
You keep in touch with him?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, you know, a messenger and that. The other one was Ian Thomas. Grew up playing against him, and I've known him since I was 10. Right. You know, talented player. Obviously with Morgan and that. But you know, in Wales, generally everyone's either play rugby or football. Rugby's the most popular sport, but so cricket comes a distant third.
Rugby's nothing. Don't get very much rugby up here, do we, Johnny? Really? Like I never played rugby in any of my schools or anything.
Did you really? Played, you in school?
Nah, nothing.
I played at school. I played twice for the school rugby team, and I played fullback because I knew at fullback no one could like hurt us. And I knew
I was on the wing.
Well, even on the wing, you can still get flattened, can't you? So that's like the last part of calling it before you get flattened. You get the ball. I knew fullback. I played 2 games of rugby for my school. I never touched the ball once, and I was the only player that went off the pitch with clean knees. I was like,
did you have fun?
Then? It was like boring. Huh?
Did you have fun?
Not really.
It's horrible when you get made to do something, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? They've probably seen you playing football or doing athletics or something like that, and they thought, right, we'll get him in the rugby team now, and you've got to do it.
Aye.
And you don't want to be there. I hated rugby. I hated it. I didn't want to play.
Sorry, are you Cardiff or Swansea?
In football?
Yeah.
Right, I'm a Llanelli boy, and that's right. Well, it's 10 miles from Swansea. There's a local rivalry.
Yeah.
So I've lived in Cardiff for 20 years, so I'll be Cardiff City supporter, yeah.
Good lad.
Yeah, it doesn't go down well back home, but I'm safe up here.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Mate, we've got to talk about it. I'm sure it's a popular subject when you get interviewed and stuff like that. But 2005, mate.
Yeah.
How good was that?
Do you know what? It was just one of those things that we hadn't planned it. We'd sat down 4 years previous as a group or as a squad of players, and we said, right, we want to be number one in the world. That's our goal. That's our aim. That's where we want to that's our benchmark. That's where we want to get to. And Duncan Fletcher had obviously kind of suggested it, that we sit down and set ourselves something. And we've beaten everyone else in the world, beaten New Zealand, South Africa, West Indies, Bangladesh, India, the rest of the sides. And those were the only ones that were left to take on. And I think we were lucky in the sense that we had a group of players that more or less stayed together. So then you build in this unity, as you know, being in a dressing room. But we also had a bowling attack that complemented each other. We all offered different things. Yeah. The batting lineup was awesome. But then 2 changes came in 05, and that was Ian Bell and KP. And I lost 2 of my best mates in that with Mark Butcher and Graham Thorpe. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, that, because I ended up being really good mates with Belly and Kev as well. But to achieve your dream and play against, for me, arguably the best test side that's ever been, those Aussies, 1 to 11 were just legends, you know what I mean? Yeah. If you name them, just people go, my good God, what a side that is. Yeah. And for us as a young bunch of lads, more or less, to take them on and beat them, it was unbelievable. But the whole series, I think, because it was also on like terrestrial TV, everyone could watch it. I think that was a massive part of that summer of cricket. Just that everyone was getting involved, people watching it in the pub, people watching it at home, wherever it was. But just to do it with that group of lads who were like a family in the end. That was the best part.
For you,
I must go on.
Just say for you though, it must have been, I guess, extra special because obviously what happened in Australia, and was it 02, 03?
It was 02, yeah, 03, yeah.
You know, to have such a big part in an Ashes win after, you know, missing an Ashes tour away, it must have had that sort of extra special touch.
Yeah, it was. You know, I was 23 at the time, and I was young and raw, really. I just wanted to bowl as quickly as I could, and I'd started well in that test, and then obviously everything went south. I'll never forget, like, Steve Harmson came on to get me, and Jason Gillespie with a stretcher.
Is that in Brisbane, Si?
Yeah, in Brisbane, yeah. But do you know the worst thing about that was, though? We played the last warm-up game in Brisbane at the Allan Border Oval.
Yeah.
And we were playing against Queensland. And that place is beautiful. The ground is amazing. And you slide in it and you keep on going. So we got to the Gabba then for the first test. We had a couple of days training. And we did a bit of fielding practice to get used to the seats, because they're like a maroon and yellow, aren't they?
Different colours, aren't they?
Yeah, so it's quite hard to pick the ball up. So we just did a little bit of fielding. So we didn't realise what the surface was like. So I just assumed everything was the same. Thought, right, I'll run after this ball, slide, bang, career, well, nearly gone. I had 18 months off. But what we didn't know, Ricky Ponting was supposed to do a fielding video for Cricket Australia. And he refused. He said, I'm not doing it on that.
Really?
No one told us. We just like, do you know what I mean?
Shit, that, isn't it?
It is shit, yeah. Yeah.
Fucking hell. I've seen that. I've seen that on YouTube, and that looked bloody nasty.
I've only ever watched it once.
Have you? Is it just one of them things that you just cannot look at?
No, I don't. It hasn't like scarred me or anything. I just don't. I've seen it once, and that was enough, because I just thought, well, yeah, it looks as bad as it was.
Yeah. I guess you were there when it happened as well.
Yeah. I think they found my kneecap on top of the stand. But yeah, it was just one of those things that happened. And when Harmy was carrying me off, he nearly dropped me because an Aussie fan threw a can of beer at my head and it just missed. And he called me a weak pommy bastard. And Harmy being Harmy wanted to look after me. He's nearly dropped me because he just wanted to go in the crowd and fill this bloke in.
Two blokes I wouldn't mess with, Simon Jones and Steve Harmison. Crikey.
Well, all you have to do is push me over when he was gone.
God, aye. But now, so from 05, obviously we mentioned on Twitter the 11th best ball of the century, that Clark delivery. And I know people will remember that ball alone just because, you know, it was so magical, the time of the day, everything, like just who it was. But I guess the lead up to it, the skill of actually being able to set them up and to go for the one you want and to get it absolutely spot on. And, you know, when you work so hard to set someone up, and it just works like to a dream. That must have been like, fuck it.
And like people say, oh, you know, why did it take so long to try and set him up and stuff? And I was like, well, you're bowling at probably the best batting lineup in the world. You got to try and use your marbles, because these boys will just pan you around if you're not thinking on your feet. And I think about 10 or 11 balls of away swing, reverse away swing, and then I thought, right, it feels right. I'm going to go for it. And the crowd seemed a bit subdued at the top when I got to the top of my mark. So I gave them a little G up and they reacted, which was good. So then I started running in and your heckles are going. And ball just came out perfectly. I couldn't have bowled it any better if I tried.
The commentary from Michael Clark's got to be one of the best ever, because as soon as he sees it go past him, he's like, oh, no.
Yeah, he did. Oh, no, yeah. Yeah. It was nice to get him as well, because even though he was a young lad in that side, everyone still rated him. He was the next big thing. Do you know what I mean? He did impose himself slightly on a few of the Indians that he played in that series. But he didn't, obviously, he wasn't anywhere near the player he was when he came towards the end of his career. He was a hell of a player, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But he just showed glimpses of what he could do. So to get him that way, and as you said earlier, that point of the day was great.
You got that in the locker, Johnny? The reverse swing?
I can do everything, Rushy. I can do absolutely everything, son. As you well know, it just comes naturally, man. Just come. I send them away in cutters, the lot.
Magician.
I've got the lot in the locker somewhere.
Just got to find them.
Yeah.
In case of finding them, when you
Get
bowl
digging.
5 overs, when you bowl 5 overs, and you bowl, 29 straight-ins.
Wait, mate, it only takes one to do something different, and that's your wicket, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. How in terms of, Rushy touched on it there, right? In terms of like you setting them up. Do you just instinctively know when it's like, right, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Is it a case of, and Rushy, I guess you can answer this as well.
Yeah.
Is it a case of I'm going to bowl so many kind of just stock deliveries, try to get one nip away, and then, right, I'm going for the in-swinger?
For me, I think you read the batsman. You read the batsman. You can see if he's getting comfortable. You can see if he's just relaxing and just like enjoying leaving. You can just see you're lulling him into a false sense of security. And Rushy will say the same thing. You just get that gut feeling. Right, I think I'll go for it with this ball. And sometimes it might not work, but that day, and I'm sure Rushy set a load of them up. But yeah, you just go with what you feel, really.
Yeah. I try to bowl Yorkers, but I end up bowling leg side full tosses.
I think you're always going with a plan, don't you? You have a plan.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to try and do. And obviously, game situation scenarios, how a guy's playing. Sometimes, I guess, when you're at the end of your run-up, you have a feeling. You just think, I think now's the time. And then whatever your change-up's going to be, you've already got it pre-planned beforehand what your change-up's going to be. And sometimes you just have that feeling, like Jonah said, and when it comes off as good as it does, and because it doesn't happen all the time. You have the ideal scenario in your head. You try and go for the innie or the one that nips back and it comes out as a leg stump half volley, and you think,
Yeah.
But you know, when they do work and they come out, you know, it looks good and it's a hell of a feeling. But in games like that, with the top players, you know, it's got to be a different level of feeling. I was reading something today as well. Like your celebrations in that series were a lot more, I guess, I don't know, loud, aggressive than most of the other English bowlers.
Yeah.
And I read a quote, you were saying, you know, you haven't played a lot of international cricket. And, you know, you just love taking every single wicket. Whether it was number 1 or number 11, it was exactly the same feeling.
I think I don't know whether you've seen the clip they have on, it's been on Twitter, I think it's been on social media, where we're all walking through the long room and come onto the pitch and Volney's chatting to us. I think that summed up the whole summer. You could sense the boys were so pumped for this series, and as the series went on, it was just like it was just to and fro, and it was like a bit like a boxing match, really. But for me, it was this is what I've been waiting for. I've always kind of, whenever I've played cricket or any sport really, I've always wanted to try and see how good I could be, test myself against the best, and I think that's where you find out what your character's like. That's where you find out how good you actually are. So I think for me, I used to put a bit of pressure on myself because I wanted to achieve and do well for the side. But I think every wicket I took in our series, you cherish every one, even if it's Glenn McGrath. You know, it's a wicket, it's a test wicket in probably, you know, what's going to be the biggest series you ever play in because of the side that you were playing against. So some of my I give Clarkey a bit of a send off, so screaming at him. I can't remember what I said. Honestly, I used to get when I don't know whether like Rushy tell you, but I remember sending Stokesy off when he was a young lad at Hampshire. What was that? When was that at Hampshire? 2010. And I give him a proper send off. And he looked at me. And he's gone out for dinner with Danny Briggs in the evening and his missus. And he said to Briggs, that bloke needs anger management. But you know, when I saw him playing and I saw him bowling, I thought this kid is going to be special. And I remember I went on to, I did the verdict on Sky and I was with Bob Willis and that. And no, Bob was, God rest his soul, he liked to be a little bit different, didn't he? And he didn't rate Stokes. And I said, you watch this bloke, the more that boy bowls, he's just going to grow and grow and grow. And he has, hasn't he? And I saw it that day. So I thought, right, got to get into him and see what he's like. And he didn't back down. He just fronted up and walked off and just gave me the stare. He was a cracker.
I remember, just we'll go off topic a touch, but Stokes' debut was in Abu Dhabi in the Champions game. And Tango, Steve Kirby, was playing for the MCC. And,
God.
And he is a fiery bloke on the field. Yeah. Tango was fiery. Still had a yard then. I remember he got into a battle with Stokesy in Abu Dhabi, and he's bounced him. And Stokesy would have been only 18, 19 at the time, and he's fucking nailed him out the ground in the stadium. And Tango's just looked at him, going, "You fucking ginger." And Stokesy just looked at him and went, "Fuck off, you ginger."
Love it.
Someone that, well, you see it now. He's never been afraid of getting stuck into a battle.
No.
Mate, he's one of those.
Yeah, I remember talking to Rushy about 7, 8 years ago about Ben Stokes, and you said to me, Rushy, he'll be the best player in the world.
Yeah.
Fucking lo and behold, like he is. Do you know what I mean? Like he is super, super talented.
That innings he played at Headingley, jeez, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Incredible.
I was there.
Were you?
It was the fucking great.
Oh my God, that must have been the best feeling ever.
We said it I know I've spoken about it on one of these before. I've been to like football matches, right? I'm a Sunderland supporter, right?
Yeah.
And Sunderland are fucking shit, right?
Right.
I've been to I was at Old Trafford when Sunderland got the cup final. I've been to Wembley to see Sunderland, God knows how many times. Henley was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was the most It was like being at a 5-hour football match.
Yeah.
It was just fucking unreal. It was just I'll never go to a cricket match ever again and experience anything like that ever again.
No.
I
was even
reckon that
drinking
is.
with 3 Newcastle supporters.
Oh, were you?
Aye, that's how good it was.
It's just like when you. How long was it on? A day and a half. That was, wasn't it, more or less? That he was it just over a day? I don't know.
Day 3 as well. Aye.
And
Yeah.
you know, he done that bowling stint as well. The day before, he bowled like 15 on a bounce, didn't he?
I've never seen a bloke bowl as many long spells as he does. When he gets going, you can't get the ball out of his hand. Which, to be sure, every captain
carries it.
Someone who stops everything, catches everything, can score hundreds, bowl you 15 over spell to 85 mile an hour plus. He's just an out and out superstar.
He bowled a shitload. I remember he bowled a shitload of overs on day 2 on the evening. And he bowled again the next
that was
morning.
it. Yeah, 15 on bounce.
Bowled again the next morning when we first got on the ground. We were going, fucking, why is Archie not on? But Stokes had kept on bowling. Must have bowled 8 overs on the morning, come back on the afternoon, and then he was in bat by I think he was in about 3 o'clock. And he faced about 100 balls and didn't score a run.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
The next day, and it was just mental.
I always judge lads on whether you'd have them in the trenches with you. That's how I judge my teammates. Yeah. And he's obviously one of them, and he get him in straight away.
Yeah.
Who were the guy? I guess in the Ashes 2005.
Yeah. Who
were like the blokes who were like keeping everybody going? Because, like you say, it was a kind of a really the series was to and fro, and it was kind of in the balance quite a lot of the time. Who were the guys in that dressing room who really just kept all the boys going throughout that series?
We just really functioned as a group. There was no egos. I know people will probably raise an eyebrow because he was young. He'd just come in the side, and he was just learning then. And there were so many strong characters around in that side, he wouldn't step out of place. Or no one would, to be fair. If anyone stood out of place, they got nailed. As in, right, wind your neck in. Varney was exceptional as a skipper. Best skipper I played for. In terms of great cricket brain, and made you feel relaxed and let you, because the one thing he'd always say to us, lads, I just want you to express yourselves. And if someone says that to you, Rushy, say if your skipper went up to you and said, right, I don't care if you go for 4 fours and an over, 5 fours and an over, I don't care. You're going to get me wickets. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. You feel relaxed at the top of your mark. And that's all he did. He just backed us to the hilt. And he was superb. And his team chats were amazing before, after the game. Like when we lost at Lord's that first test, and McGrath bowled like God. He said, right, 0-0. First test match is Edgbaston. We go from there. And that was it. He said, right, go home. You've got 6 days off. Let's just go. And that's what he did. That's how he functioned. That's how he was as a skipper. He was amazing.
Was he in? Did he run the show alone, or was it a case of him and the coach together?
Fletch was more in the nets. So he'd walk around and he'd work with people individually if he saw something. Fletch was always watching. You might have thought he wasn't. That's why he always wore glasses. He was always watching everyone. And he'd go up. If he saw something he thought you should make a point about, he would. Varney did all the talking. Yeah. They bounced off each other brilliantly. They really did. Well. Yeah.
So I spoke to Harmy earlier, and I just tried to see if there was anything on you really. He didn't really have a lot. He said, I don't really have much on Si, but he was a very aggressive person, even in the nets, especially to net bowlers.
Well, I had a net at Lords, right? It was during the Ashes. And we were like, we don't know, as bowlers, you've always been at the end, innit? So there was no one around really to throw the ball to. Like old Trez and that had gone straight in the showers. Let's go shopping or something. I don't know. So we had to face the MCC young cricketers, and they had this lad coming in. He was bowling decent gas, right? And he was bowling about 3 yards over the line, and he kept on sniffing me. I thought, I'm not having this. So I asked him, I said, what the fuck are you doing, pal? I said, if you carry on, this bat's going around your head. I said, just bowl one more. And he didn't. But then I offered for him to get his pads on because I was fired up. I was gonna let him have it.
Rachel.
I know Harmy, Harmy was so chilled in nets. I've never seen anything like it. He'd bowl off 5 yards and just walk off.
Yeah.
He'd do his spell. Sometimes he'd run in. But he was one of those that like to save it for the game, wasn't he? I just bowl and bowl and bowl. Just until I felt good. I'd be happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did. Yeah, when someone's bowling like decent gassy red, I thought, nah, if he breaks my wrist and I miss a series,
you'd be fuming.
Yeah, I won't happy.
I'd love to have seen his face when you said, right, mate, go on, strap him on, your turn.
Yeah. He said, oh, no, I'm just here to bowl. I said, just do me a favour, fuck off. Get out the net.
Where are the off spinners?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was like Sourav Ganguly. He played at Glamorgan, right? And he'd walk into nets with a cap on. And he'd say to the bowlers, no bouncers today. So one of the boys ran in and sniffed him, walked straight at the net, got in his car and went home.
Really?
Yeah, he said, no bouncers today.
Because I heard a story when Shaw was at Durham.
Yeah.
When he wanted to work on something in the nets. So he would tell the guys batting, he's going to bowl 5 or 6 bounces now. So apparently the guys had just stood down, just ducking before he's even run in.
Yeah.
Is that the case who was on 40 a day and bloody ball 100 mile an hour?
I know he was rapid.
Did you play the game at the Riverside when he hit Matty Maynard?
No, but I've heard about it. I think I might have been with England, I think. But I know Darren Thomas was doing night watchman. And the lads were saying they've never seen a night watchman play so many hook shots in their life. Because he was just trying to get out.
I was young before the academy. And I remember I was on the sidelines watching and I was like, he's killed him, he's dead.
Because Maynard, he's up there with one of the best batsmen I've ever seen as well. Unbelievable talent. But the boys were saying Shoaib was bowling absolute rockets. He probably had a party to go to in the night, did he?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think he enjoyed a party, him and Pengy.
Yeah. Oh, Pengy. He's one of my best mates. I love that boy.
You would have had a spell with him down in Glamorgan when he went down.
Yeah, I first proper met Pengy in 2001 on the Rod Marsh Academy. And we just hit it off, clicked. And been best mates ever since.
You're a good lad.
Brilliant bloke.
Obviously, Si still, talking about the 2005 Ashes. Trent Bridge, Old Trafford kind of really came to the fore. Lots of wickets, Old Trafford, but then obviously was it 5 for first innings?
Yeah.
And then kind of second innings. Did you bowl a couple of overs? What was that game? Obviously, must have been really like bittersweet, I guess.
Yeah, it was
the Trent Bridge game. It
was horrible. What happened was I was in the first test at Lords. I like bowling from the nursery end, and there's obviously a slope, isn't there? And I was running in the second innings, and I felt this crunch in my ankle, in the front of my ankle. I thought I'd be all right, just carry on. So I carried on bowling, got through the game, it was fine. And then went up to Edgbaston, and it was sore. I had a couple of days off bowling, and it was sore, so I got sent off for a scan, and I had like 3 bone spurs on my ankle. So they started, they put cortisone in, felt brilliant. got through that test, got to the next test match at Old Trafford, got through that with another jab. And then Trent Bridge, they jabbed me again. And that was it. I woke up to do the second innings on that day, and I couldn't put my foot on the floor. It was like the knife was being jabbed into my ankle. It's like an electric shock. And, Rushy will tell you, bowlers, you're used to pain, aren't you?
Yeah. But
I'd never felt anything like that. It was horrendous. And I called the physio and said, mate, you got to come and see me. And he was just like panicking because they needed me to bowl. So then I had a doctor jab me with some local anesthetic. And do you know when you go to the dentist and you go like that? Can't feel anything. I could not feel my foot. And I was running into bowl and I didn't know where my leg was.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, I'm going to end up breaking my leg here.
Right.
So I just signaled, I got to go. And they sent me for scans. And then, that was the last time I played for England. It was horrible.
Just on that, I know it's a sad moment to finish. Yeah. But Harmy, again, I'll read out.
Yeah, I know this. I know the story you're going to say. Yeah.
So basically,
Harmy expected him on the pitch.
So apparently the captain asks lads, do we make them follow on or whatever? And apparently, Si says, yes, Skip, I think we should make them follow on. He didn't come out and bowl in the second innings.
Do you know what that is, right?
So apparently, Harmy had 45 overs.
Yeah, Hoggy says exactly the same thing, right? And I reckon they've done their after dinner speeches so much, it's just in their brains. But when you watch that huddle, I wasn't even in it. I was off. I was gone. I was up at the change rooms going to see the fizz because my ankle was just cooked. But I let them have that one. Yeah, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, eh?
Absolutely. What were you going to say, Johnny?
Did you kind of, at that point, I know we're getting quite deep here, which is not like us on this podcast, but did you kind of know at that point with your ankle and obviously the injury in Brisbane, did you kind of think, fucking right, this is it now? Or was it was it just a bit of a, do you know what, it's another injury, I'll get over it, I'll come back stronger, whatever? Or what was kind of going through your head in those next, I kind of guess the few weeks after that injury at Trent Bridge?
I'll tell you what was happening was they'd sent me down to London and I was going into a hyperbaric chamber. So do you know when you go into a submarine?
I've never been in a submarine, mate, to be honest.
Well, that's what it looks like, all right? And he put gas mask on you and you sat in there for 6 hours a day. And it's just giving you pure oxygen. And it helps with the healing process. But I felt like a bit of an imposter, really, because I was sat with people. We were in the Wellington hospital near Lords. And there was people in there with cancer. There was people in there with gangrene. There's people in there with real issues, you know what I mean? Not trying to get back for a fucking test match. And I said, when he was sat in there, I felt like I'd rather give this up to someone else because, you know what I mean? So we did all that training, even had a faith healer. Lady came in to my hotel room and Kirk Russell, the physio, walked in with that. And I went, right,
whose idea was that?
I think that, I don't know, it must have been Kirk's, but they were so desperate at this point to get me fit for that last test, they were going to try anything. So this lady walked in, lovely lady, right? And she just got me to sit down on my chair and put my leg out on the other chair. And she put her hands over my foot and just kept them about that far away from my foot. And she goes, oh, can you feel any warmth? I was like, no. And this went on for about 10, 15.
Like Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And I said, look, I'm going to apologise. I'm sorry, this ain't going to do anything. I said, Kurt, can we just, crack on? And then we made a decision we did a fitness test the next day and it was all over.
No good.
All over, yeah.
But you played after that, or you played county?
Yeah, I played county for another, 6, 7 years, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But that was when I left knee happened, isn't it, in India?
How was the body through the county stuff? Because obviously the county schedules.
Well, I got fit then with my ankle to go on the India tour, didn't I? And I wrecked my left knee in a warm-up game in India with England, and that's the worst injury I've ever had in my life.
Really?
It was 7 years of hell. I had 3 microfractures on my left knee. Yeah, that was horrendous. If I'd been
tough, haven't you?
Yeah. I think I had 9 on that one, 9 ops on that.
Really? Christ.
Yeah. And you'd have seen me towards the end of my career. I showed glimpses of what I could do, but majority of the time I was battling a bit.
How's the mindset when you're playing and you've been at the highest level and know what you're capable of, but your body's just not giving you how you're feeling mentally.
That's the most frustrating thing, because you know what you can do. You remember what you could do, but you take 1 step forward and 2 back, and it almost felt like it was hard work. And the worst time of my career, I reckon, was at Hampshire. Brilliant changing room, great lads, but I was in a different world. I was vacant. I was just focused so much on my injury and rehabbing it. I was down to 88 kilos, and naturally 94. I was just looked like I don't know what I looked like, but I wasn't myself. I was waking up, I was consumed by my knee, looking after it. Christmas Day, I wanted to get to the gym. Obviously, it's going to be closed. Drove to the gym the next day, closed. Ended up running up and down my stairs for an hour. It was just me. And then went to Glamorgan, and then the best part of my career was when I decided to hang my boots up. It's felt this weight lift. Gone.
Really?
Yeah, gone. Don't have to do another rehab. Yeah, gone.
Was it just a bit of a rehab. Fucking up, done.
Yeah.
I can't be asked for this anymore.
I can wake up tomorrow morning and not have to do anything and worry about how my knee's going to feel.
Was that
was the best thing.
Tough? Was it a tough decision? Was it a tough decision to make? No.
I'd had enough.
Do you wish you'd have done it sooner?
Do you know what? People say, have you got regrets? And I generally try to say no. But if I'd known in 2006 what I was going to go through for the next 7 years, in terms of frustration and operations, I retired in 2006.
Yeah.
Without a second thought. Well, I
guess it's at that point, it's like you never know, do you? It's like you're a professional athlete, you're a fucking fast bowler.
Yeah, and I'm stubborn.
Do what you can.
Yeah, I'm stubborn and I won't give in. But I always said to myself, I always promised myself, I'll never ask myself a question, what if at 40? Never ask myself that question. So I always said, right, I've got to rehab this because you never know, I might get back. Yeah. And that's how I kind of motivate myself. I didn't want to leave it and think to myself then, when I'm raising my kids and that, maybe I could have done that. No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Do it at the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got 2 boys. Have you got two boys? Is that right?
2 boys, yeah, 12 and 14.
Have they sort of watched any of your career or anything? Are they into cricket or?
Nah, they've seen bits of it, but no, football and the oldest one loves his computers and swimming and stuff, but the youngest is football fanatic, loves it. Ronaldo and Rashford.
Rashford.
Yeah, loves Rashford.
I think everyone does this year.
Yeah.
I love Rashford for his charity work. I don't think he's a very good player. Don't rate him.
I'd have him at Sunderland.
Yeah, well,
I tell you what, I watched that Netflix series, Sunderland Till I Die. I loved that.
Yeah,
honest to God, watching that, I was gobsmacked at some of the stuff that club did.
I'll be honest,
I've
not watched season 2. I watched the first one, and I can't bring myself to watch series 2 because I know the outcome.
I know I've watched series 2 as well. I loved it, not because of the shit that the club went through, but the insight and what you see. Like, who was the lad that was on 70 grand a week or whatever it was, and he wasn't playing?
Rodwell.
Yeah, and he just wouldn't leave, and I was like, mate, you're gonna get filled in soon.
I find this incredible. I know the financial levels in cricket compared to football's, different. It's a different world, but surely at some stage you're thinking, right, I've got more than enough money.
Yeah.
You don't want me. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Let's just come to an agreement and like save face it. But he never did.
But where's your pride as well?
Oh,
Someone's daft enough to pay me 70 grand a week to do jack shit, man. I'm taking it.
I know, but he still wanted to play football, though, didn't he?
Stupidity.
From doing nothing.
Did he?
You've got any ambition about him. You go and try and play somewhere. You don't just sit there and train by yourself in the afternoon or whatever.
That was awful.
Awesome,
do you know what? I was watching that. My toes were curling because I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, wow. Just do the club a favour, save them some cash and move somewhere else or something.
Yeah. I think, you know what, Si, I think thanks for being like honest and stuff about the injuries. I know it's probably not like easy to drag up and stuff like that, right? Question for me, right? That fucking bus tour after you won the Ashes. I want to know about that, man.
That's the drunkest. That's the drunkest 11 or 12 people I think the world has ever seen. It was one of those things, right? We just won the Ashes and we were sat in the dressing rooms. We'd obviously gone berserk. But then when you sit down and you try and take it in what you've just achieved, you're just in a bit of a daze, you know what I mean? You're almost thinking, is this real and all that kind of stuff. So we're all sitting down, a couple of cigars were flying round and all that, boys were on the champers, on beers, all sorts. And then Phil Neal has walked in, who's the England manager, and he said, right, lads, bit of news for you. You're going on a bus tour tomorrow morning. I went, fuck off, Phil. You're having a laugh, pal. He said, no, you're going on a bus tour tomorrow morning. You got to be in your number ones by 9 or 9:15. And Vaughan, as he did the whole series, he stood up, he said, right then, Phil, you're going to have to take us how we come. And he said, I mean that. You're going to have to take us how we come. And Phil went, look, just have a good night, but just turn up respectably in the morning. Vaughan said, no, we'll be there when we get there. So we've all got down there for 9:15. And then you obviously seen Fred walking towards the bus, didn't you?
One must have turned up late. One person must have been late.
Fred was probably the latest, but then you saw him stumbling out the door, didn't you? He looked like a cyclops because only like one of his eyes was working. So we were chatting the night before. We're like, why the fuck are they doing this bus tour? No one's going to be there. We're just going to be driving around as if we're tourists. So we've tourists with suit and tie on, you know what I mean? So we got on this bus and it started going, and fucking hell, I've never seen anything like it. The crowds were like 8 deep on the pavements, and you're looking up at the buildings, and people are hanging out of their office windows, screaming at us, shouting at us. It was just like something we'd never seen before in our lives. So we've just started going places. We've gone to see the mayor, Ken Livingstone, and he was stood outside the building, and he had the full clobber on, like he had long socks, tight trousers, fucking waistcoat and all that. And he had his hat on, looked like Robin Hood with a fucking feather on it. So Harmy was on Fred watch, right, for the whole thing. He was put in charge of Fred because he was obliterated. But he was put in charge of looking after Fred. So Fred's walked up to Ken Livingstone and gone, what the fuck have you come as? Harmy's went over and said, Andrew, this is Ken Livingstone. He's the mayor of London. He's giving you free booze today. Oh, I'm Andrew. Nice to meet you. And just stormed past them, went straight into the building and started swilling again. So we've gone in there, had a couple of beers. The worst thing was the beers were warm. There's nothing worse than warm beer, is there?
No.
So then we come out, carried on. Next stop was Tony Blair's place, number 10. And the worst thing Tony Blair did, I think he took it as like a PR stunt.
Right.
So we've rocked up outside number 10. And we've walked off and gone, fucking hell, here we go. And Tony's there waiting. And he's seen us getting off a bus. Some have stumbled, some have tripped and stuff like that. And do you know when you see someone's face just drain? He's thinking, what have I done?
Fucking these are going to be hard work.
Yeah. He's like, what have I done? So we've just gone into his house. It's a massive pad. I was just like, hey, fucking hell, what's going on here? It's like a TARDIS. It just kept on going. And the security was everywhere. They were just blokes everywhere. And he ushered us into the garden. We're all having a chat like that. I've looked over. Harmy was on the kids' swings, going back and forth with his bottle of beer in his hand. Hoggy was on the kids' climbing frame, sat on the top. Apparently, I took a piss in his garden. It was me. He blamed the Welsh lad, do you know what I mean? Apparently, it was me. And Fred's just gone missing. Apparently, he'd broken into Tony Blair's office and was on his phone pretending to make phone calls of mass destruction around the world. I don't know. It was just crazy times. And then obviously Tony's had enough, and or TB as we called him. So then he's ushered the boys together, and he said, "Right, we've got to go." So we've gone out front of number 10, and Tony stood on the step, and then the rest of us had to line up next to him.
Yeah.
Now, Hoggy, right? I call him the social hand grenade. When he's sober, he's a nightmare, but when he's pissed, he's even worse. And he was stood next to Tony Blair. And across the street was a load of people. And Tony Blair said to Hoggy, he said, "I wonder what all these people want." And Hoggar's gone, "A picture, you fucking knobhead." To Tony Blair. And Tony's just gone deadpan. He said, "Right, time to leave. Off you go." Off you pop, get her back on the bus, you're gone. Yeah, so then we went to Lord's, and then you've got a picture of Vaughan. Have you seen it with he's playing with his tie? And that was it, really. We went out that night again and got obliterated, and we went back to our homes then the next day. It was an amazing day, though. Amazing. Trafalgar Square was different class.
With the greatest hangover you've ever had.
Hey?
The greatest hangover you've ever had.
Yeah.
You would have been on crutches, were you?
No.
No crutches?
No, I was walking.
Were you allowed to drink?
Yes. Yes. The next 6 months of mine were over. I was going to get absolutely annihilated. I got shit-faced, absolutely shit-faced.
Just imagine being the bloke trying to say, "Nah, mate, you're injured."
I know. I think I'd have headbutted him.
I've got something else that I wanted to ask about, but I think I don't know. I'd be content on leaving it there, but and now we'll get it in. We've got time, aren't we? You're not in a hurry, are you, Jonah? So obviously that 05 series obviously came out well known for reverse swinging it. Just try to sort of look at your white ball stats. Obviously, reverse swing, white ball. You think fast, can swing it both ways. So I think you only played a handful of ODIs. 8,
I think it was. Yeah. I don't know. I think I was more or less seen as more of a test cricketer. I had my opportunities in the one day setup, but I don't think I ever kind of did myself covered myself in glory, really. I did all right. I think I hadn't played much one-day cricket for Glamorgan. I was just all over the shop when I was younger, so they didn't want to risk me. So I never got that opportunity. So all the success that Glamorgan had in, say, I think it was 2002, 2004 and that, I never played in that side. Never played in that side. So I didn't have much experience behind me in terms of one-day stuff.
Yeah.
But then once I finished the Ashes and I started playing more and more and more, I was always playing one-day stuff. So that's where my game developed a bit more.
Right.
But in the early days, I didn't have the experience, really. I was just, I didn't have the nonce about me about bowling slow balls and my change downs, change ups, Yorkers. I didn't have that skill set, which I should have had, like, say, Darren Goff.
Yeah.
He could bowl a Yorker at will. I wasn't on the same par as him in the one-day stuff. So it was just one of those things I didn't quite achieve. And, I played a handful, but yeah, that'll do me. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Right, Jonah, last one, right?
Right.
Rule of 6.
Yeah.
Boris has got all rule of 6. Might not apply to you lads in Wales, but you're out back in the drink for 6 years, 5-year pals, right? Former players, former teammates of yours.
Yeah.
Who are you 5? And who are you going on the drink with?
Mark Butcher.
Okay.
Absolute legend. Great fun on the gas as well. Hoggy, 2. Harmy, 3. Freddie, 4. And Nicky Peng, 5.
It's a good night. That'd be a good night out.
That is a loose night, isn't it?
That would be a steady night out.
That is a loose night out. Maynard is on the bench. Matt Maynard, he's on the bench. And Graham Thorpe's on the bench as well. They're waiting to come in if someone pulls out. The only one I was querying was Fred.
He doesn't drink anymore.
He doesn't drink anymore.
Is he? He's quite busy, Freddie.
Yeah, but he hasn't drunk for 3 years, has he?
Nah.
Has he not?
No.
Yeah, teetotal, isn't he?
Yeah, teetotal.
Imagine he'd still be good fun though, wouldn't
he? Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I had him in. He'd be a great laugh anyway.
Still have good value.
He'd be a great laugh anyway, yeah.
Where would you go?
How what?
Where would you go?
Where would I go?
On an open top bus.
Do you know what? If I had a night out, I'd probably go up Newcastle way, you know. Pop a night out, or Birmingham. Decent night out there, isn't it? What's it called? Broad Street, isn't it?
Broad Street.
Broad Street.
Good spot.
Tell you what, that's one thing you know as cricketers is all the places go.
You do pray for Glamorgan away on the fixture list.
I know. Yeah, everyone loves Cardiff, don't they?
Yeah,
Everyone loves Cardiff.
Been there twice.
It's when you get 12th man and you got the pink ticket, isn't it?
Mate, it's different.
Different now, though, isn't it?
4 or 5 years, maybe even a little bit longer. Just that social side of the game's totally changed. It's so much more, not strict.
I noticed.
Orientated.
Yeah, I noticed a massive difference. Like from when I started in, sound old now, but 96, 97, and when I finished in 2013, Jesus, it was polar opposites.
Right.
Like when I finished in 2013, you're walking in, doing wee samples and stuff to see if you're hydrated. You weigh in every time you go in. Yeah. You're doing the S&C sessions. When I started, geez, it was regulation 8 to 10 pints a night. And because literally, and because both sides are doing it, you're on a par, aren't you?
Yeah.
Whereas now, if someone went out and got smashed, absolutely annihilated, you've noticed it straight away, wouldn't you? They got no way of hiding it.
Well, that's one thing. One thing that doesn't happen. I know we get Foxy on here quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I had this conversation with Foxy. You don't have that social interaction with the opposition anymore. Like when I first started playing 2009, you would play the game and then you would go and watch the senior blokes have a beer in the bar with the opposition senior blokes, and you kind of sit and just listen to their conversations. But it just doesn't happen now, which it's a shame. But I guess from a professional point of view, you can kind of understand it. But I guess for cricket, it's a great way of learning the game. Not so much, not so much the technical side of it and stuff like that, but just learning about cricket and different people's point of views and things like that.
Yeah, I remember chatting to Devon Malcolm after a game, and I learned more from him in 25, 30 minutes than I did from anyone else that was in the squad. You know what I mean? Just chatting about bowling and stuff. It was unbelievable. But yeah, I suppose everything's more professional now. If you look in the old days of football, they were mental, weren't they? Tony Adams and that going out in the gas.
Aye.
And now they don't even drink, do they? I don't know. Not many of them drink.
Well, some of them do, but if you do drink, you found out straight away. And social media, like you can't do anything.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I think was good back in my day, was no cameras, anything.
You'd have all been fucked.
Just imagine Instagram in Tony Blair's back garden.
Yeah,
I know, imagine that.
You got Huggy on the climbing frame and Jonas taking the piss out the back.
Yeah, and I get arrested.
Blown up fucking right. Hey, I tell you what a lovely note to end on, right?
Yeah.
Si, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. Giving up an hour on your Friday night. Superb. Really enjoyed it. Right.
I can't go to the pub anyway, can I?
Hey,
I can't go to the pub anyway. They're locked. 6 o'clock.
this is it. Why do you think we asked you on?
yeah. Bad, good man.
No, thanks, mate. Really appreciate it. And
Rushy,
like John said earlier, thanks for your honesty.
Yeah, you've got to be honest, mate. Anyway. All right. Cheers, lads. Cheers, Johnny. Cheers, Rushy boy. Good luck, Rushy?
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Oh, well.
Thanks.
Cheers, John. Nice to meet you.
Thanks. I speak soon. Turn up.
Cheers. Ta-ra, boys.